that, the three things that we're looking at is the growing experience, is preparing a plate of food, and also to visit a farm. We want schools to be able to see and school children where their food is produced, then in some cases how it's processed, how it arrives in the retailers and the supermarket shelves, and that whole food chain from start to finish. And I think when we have that connection, people will understand the importance of the countryside, of the farming community, and those involved in the food chain. To develop a number of hubs of farms around the big urban conurbations are actually going to make that long-term link. And we know this school here knows very well the value of visiting farms where they can deliver a huge range of the curriculum. It's perhaps not a surprise that nationally we did the political launch last November, the day after the government launched their outdoor manifesto. The two are very closely connected. And this event has been held in very safe conditions, and particularly given that the school have actually walked here, they're a local school have walked here, I think that shows quite typically the connection that some schools have. This farm is actually a very prime example of the sort of activity that we hope to see right across the southwest and right across the country. They've had over 3,000 school children here in the last year. I think about 85 school visits. That's a real example of the farming community reconnecting with those young people.
2, 3, and 4. Okay, come on. Right, these are the 4 numbers. Now, this is what we're trying to make. Have a look at this, everyone. Can you see this? This is called a bag garden.
And a survey that was done, we discovered that children aged 11 to 15 now spend 55% of their waking lives, which is about 53 hours a week, watching television or on a computer. The real shocking statistic is that's an increase of 40% in the last decade. And then the question comes, why is there issues about obesity? So I think that gives a very good example of why this year is so important.
I mean, frankly, it is a nonsense how ignorant we are. The figures in the document show you that something like 60% of children currently think that potatoes grow on trees. We have got to change that perception, because if we don't change that perception, we will continue to have supermarkets rejecting excellent specimens like this.
That food can be grown in an area that measures that by that and on that height. And if you look at the African example, you can grow a family's food in a number of bags. And what we're trying to do is demonstrate that that can be done, not necessarily on a farm, but actually in schools. People can produce their own food from a very small area.
What sort of things do you think we could grow in this bag? Any ideas? Cabbage. That's very good. That's cabbage. And that's a little cabbage as well. Anything else? Yes, you. Pumpkins. That's what I hadn't thought of. That's perfect. That one.
Visited a classroom in the countryside, and you can literally do any lesson you want on the farm, as long as you're sort of innovative enough to think about how to get around it.
Now, who knows what goes into bread dough? Yeah, yeast. Yeah, very important ingredient. And what's yeast? Do you know what yeast is? It's like a little organism. It's a living thing, and what it's actually doing is it's mixed with the flour, and it's actually alive in there.
So if there's anything that anybody wants, we would encourage them to ask for it. It really is a case of, well, we can't do that, but we know a man who can. And that's the role that we're taking, as well as hosting visits onto farms. We would encourage you as individual organisations, if you know somebody that wants something delivered, please make contact with Southwest Corps or FarmLink or FACE or anybody else that you think might be able to help deliver. And we really do need to encourage that uptake by different people in this world.